A book filled with secrets that shook the world from beginning to end, so much so even the Vatican banned it. But was this mysterious text truly given to Enoch? That is, to the Prophet Idris in Islam. Was it really revealed by Allah according to what's written in the book? Giants once existed. A forbidden union took place between beings who descended to earth and human women. And from this union, a race was born that shook the earth. The giants, did these beings really declare war against humanity? And what does Islam say about all this? A prophet with special and mysterious knowledge, Enoch, he played such a mysterious game with Azrael that in the end he was raised to the heavens but where is he now? Is he in paradise or living in another dimension? And when you hear what happened during his time, you'll realize that what has been called human history until now is nothing but a fairy tale. And now we arrive at the biggest part. According to Islam, the heights of the prophets and their peoples from that time will shock you. We prepared this video after researching dozens of sources to support us. Please subscribe to the channel. With your support, we can reach even more people. Let's begin by saying this: we cannot completely ignore the original Book of Enoch. Even if it did exist, its rules do not apply to us today as Muslims. But this does not mean we should reject the whole book and call it man-made, because if even one sentence in it came from Allah's, we deny it. We could fall into sin without knowing, so we must stay away from dangerous ideas like that. Now let's look at what is written in the Book of Enoch and how Islamic sources talk about it. Islamic scholars say that Idris was given a 30-page revelation. So how many pages are in the Book of Enoch today? These writings were not found as full books. They were found more like single pages or scrolls. There are 3 important discoveries. Each one carries signs from deep history to our time. The first and oldest full version was found in the Ethiopian language. A Scottish traveller named James Bruce found it during a 6-year trip to Ethiopia. In 1770s, he brought 3 copies of the Book of Enoch, written in Ge'ez, back to Europe. At that time, the book was thought to be lost. In Europe, another important discovery happened. In 1886, the French archaeology mission found parts of the Greek translation of the Book of Enoch in a Christian cemetery in the city of Akhmim, Egypt. These texts show how the book spread in different languages. The last and most important discovery was in 1947 in the Qumran area. Ancient scrolls were found there called the Dead Sea Scrolls. Among them, they found parts of the Book of Enoch in the Aramaic language. This discovery gave us important information about the book's original language and where it came from. These writings are believed to be from the 2nd century BCE. They are very old and contain many strange details. In this video, we will focus more on this book and then talk about the unusual and mysterious life of Idris, as told in Islamic sources. The part known as the Book of Giants is especially interesting. It focuses on the stories of the giants, who were the children of the fallen angels. In this section, we read about how the giants called Nephilim were born from the union between fallen angels and human women. The book also includes some prophecies. These prophecies begin to appear through dreams. It contains the dreams seen by Enoch and the giants along with their interpretations. Enoch had 2 very important dreams. The first one is the dream of the great flood. When Enoch was young, he saw a dream that the earth would be destroyed by a great flood. He told this dream to his grandfather Mahalalel. Then he prayed to Allah to protect a righteous generation on earth. Enoch's second dream explains the history of humanity using animals as symbols. This dream starts with Adam and continues until the time of the Messiah. It shows important events in human history. Through symbolic animal figures, there is also another apocryphal text, not written by Enoch, but believed to be from the same period. This very unusual book is called the Book of Giants, and it also talks about dreams. This time, It is the giants who see dreams of a coming destruction. They go to Enoch and ask him to explain their dreams. Enoch tells them that their dreams are a warning from Allah. He says they must repent, or else the destruction caused by the anger of Allah will come, and they will all be completely wiped out. These giants were strong warriors, and they were very confident. So where did these giants come from? To explain this, the book introduces the idea of fallen angels and calls the giants Nephilim. Says these giants, called Nephilim, were mixed beings born from the union of angels who fell from the sky and human women. But when we look at this from the Islamic view, we can see that Jewish and Christian scholars made a big mistake in the way they explained the idea of fallen angels. They even described Satan as a fallen angel, which is different from what Islam teachings. Islam, on the other hand, reminds the world about a third type of being that many have forgotten. They are the jinn. Shaitan is a jinn, not an angel. Angels and jinn are two completely different types of beings. Angels are made of nur, light. They always obey Allah and never commit sins. Jinn are made of fire. They have free will, some of them believe and others reject, just like humans. According to the Qur'an, Iblis, Satan, was not an angel but a jinn. There are even some Christian and Jewish interpreters from human bloodlines. According to them, there was no sexual contact between angels and humans. To be honest, it looks like this story was made up later in the West just to make it more exciting and easier to sell. We can also see this from the fact that the different versions of the book have very different texts, which shows that the original was changed. But one thing that most sources agree on is that the Nephilim, the giants, were very tall beings that brought chaos and destruction to the earth. Nephilim appear in ancient Hebrew religious texts. They were very large and powerful, but in the end they were destroyed and wiped out from the earth. Now let's talk about what Islam says about giants. Probably everyone who watched up to this point is curious about this part in Islamic sources. Some hadith and narrations give us details about the physical features of past nations. These include the heights of Adam, Prophet Hud, and the people of AD. Actually, Idris was a prophet who lived between Adam and Hud. So if both Adam and Hud and their people were very tall, we can understand that Idris and his people were also very tall. Let's take a look together in authentic hadith sources. It is said that Adam was about 40 meters tall. In a hadith reported by Buhari, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said Allah created Adam and his height was 60 cubits. When we turn that into meters, it is about 40 meters tall. The people of Ad and their physical features. In the Quran there is information about the people of Ad to whom the prophethood was sent. It shows that this nation was made up of strong and large-built people. In Surat Fusilat, it says, as for the people of Ad, they behaved arrogantly on earth without right and said, who is stronger than us in power? In Islamic commentaries, Tafsirit is explained that the people of Ad were physically strong and large. They also built big and massive structures. However, there is no exact number given for their height. But in some books, it is mentioned that due to the conditions of that time and the size of the animals that lived back then, the people were also very tall, so tall that we would now call them giants, since the height of Adam was about 40 meters and Idris was only 6 generations after him. We can say that Idris and his people were also giants. Even though Islam doesn't use the word giant, the very large heights mentioned in sources point to the existence of giant-like people in the past. Possible links between Nephilim and Jinn in Islam. There is no direct mention of Nephilim, but there are some similarities and theories. Human-Jinn interaction. According to Islamic belief, it is possible for humans and Jinn to interact. Some narrations talk about beings that were born from the union of humans and Jinn. These beings are called Nasnas, described as half human, half Jinn, often with missing body parts. However, we could not find strong academic sources about These stories mostly come from local beliefs or folktales. Some people claim to have married jinn or had sexual contact with them. And there are even so-called jinn experts who talk about these events. But again, because we didn't find any solid sources, we are sharing this as just a possibility. Shaitan, like beings, the destructive and chaotic nature of Nephilim is similar to the evil jinn described in Islam. According to Islam, Satan has billions of helpers. There are even authentic hadith that say every human has at least one personal satanso, that secret-filled story in the Book of Enoch, Harut and Marut. How does Islam explain this event? Yes, they were angels, and yes, they really did teach magic to people. But this was not rebellion, it was the opposite. They did this duty with the permission of Allah, and by His command. At that time, Satans and jinn were teaching magic to people, darkening their minds and hearts. So Harut and Marut came to stop this dark magic. They brought knowledge, they showed people how to protect themselves. But in order to break a magic spell, you first need to understand how that spell is made, because the way to break it depends on the type of the magic. It's just like a doctor. They must first understand the illness and learn how the body works. That's why these angels explain the details of the magic. But every time they warn people, do not use this knowledge for bad purposes. But humanity, once again, chose the same old path. They did not listen to the warnings. Instead of breaking the magic, they used it for their own personal gain. And in the end, just like many nations before them, they were destroyed. So what kind of life did Prophet Idris, also known as Enoch Levi? He was the first person after Adam to write with a pen. He thought deeply, using sciences like mathematics and astronomy. He was also the first in human history to invent sewing and wore stitched clothes. In the Quran, Prophet Idris, BAS, is praised. He is remembered as the one who taught people many skills. With his deep wisdom and strong devotion to Allah, he became one of the most important figures, not only of his own time, but in all of human history. The Quran mentions his name 2 times. It is said that Idris, AS, was born near Babylon even before becoming a prophet. He used to worship Allah. His father was also a man of great knowledge. He had learned from his own father, and from the Suhuf that was sent to Adam he studied astronomy, astrology, and similar sciences, and passed this knowledge to his son Idriso. Idris became both a pioneer in knowledge and a guide for humanity, leaving a unique mark in history. The Quran says, and mention in the book, Idris, surely he was a man of truth, a prophet, and we raised him to a high place. There are narrations that describe Idris alayhi salam as very tall, with fair skin, a broad chest, a large belly, strong bones, light body hair, thick hair on his head, a soft voice, gentle words, and short steps when walking. According to a narration by Taberi, when gave him prophethood, Adam was 622 years old. He was sent as a prophet to the children of Kabil, Cain. He called his people to the truth, invited them to obey Allah and stay away from Satan, but they did not listen to him. It is said that about 1,000 believers followed him. Angels would visit Idris, AS, in groups, stalking with him and spending time in his presence. Even before becoming a prophet, they used to spend his time in worship. The prophets who reached the highest level of spiritual growth were also examples for humanity in practical skills. Just like Adam was a farmer, Idris alayhi salam was a tailor. The meeting of Prophet Idris, AS, with the angel in charge of the sun. Prophet Idris, AS, was so pious and pure that he divided his life into 2 parts. For 3 days he would preach to his people, teach goodness and guide them. Then for 4 days he would travel across the land and worship only Allah. That time his community was very corrupt, both physically and spiritually. They had left the path shown by Shith-S, and they had stopped worshipping. They treated all kinds of sins and forbidden things as if they were allowed. So St. Idris alayhi salam as a prophet to guide these people. He received 30 pages of divine revelation and taught the people the commands and warnings from Allah. On day after preaching for 3 days, he went out for 4 days of worship. It was a very hot day, and as he walked under the sun, he became extremely hot and sweaty. Then he said, "O my Lord, I could not stand even 1 day under this sun. How does the angel who carries the sun endure this heat every day in that moment?" He made a dua, "O my Lord, please make the heat and weight of the sun lighter," for the angel who carries it accepted the dua of Idris. And he made the heat and weight of the sun easier for that angel. When the angel felt this change, he called out to Allah, "O my Lord, what is this new situation? Why did you change this for me?" Said, "I did this because of the dua of my servant." Idris the angel then said, "O my Lord, send me to him. Let me be his friend," accepted the angel's request, and allowed him to go and meet Idris A.S. When the angel arrived, Idris A.S. immediately recognized him. He said, "I know that you are one of the angels who visit as guests." They sat together, talked and worshipped. When the angel was about to return to the sky, he said to Idris, "Because of the kindness you showed me, I want to fulfill a wish for you. I know that you have a special place with Azraeli. Will listen to you. Please speak for me and intercede on my behalf." The angel replied, "Of course I will speak to him and tell him your request." So the angel went and told Azrael about this. Azrael already knew Idris from afar. He loved and respected him, and also wanted to meet him. When he heard the request, he said, "Let me ask my Lord for permission. If he allows, I would love to visit him." Azrael received permission from Allah. Then he took the form of a human and went to visit Idris at that time. Idris had just finished 3 days of preaching to his people and had entered his 4-day worship period. That's when Azrael arrived during this time of worship, disguised as a human. When he saw Idris, he gave him salam and said, "O Prophet of Allah, will you let me be your companion?" But Idris did not realize he was an angel. He thought he was an ordinary man and replied, "I have separated these 4 days for worship. I avoid people during this time and no one knows where I go. So how did you find me?" Azrael sighed, "O Prophet of Allah, I am also a servant of Allah. I only wanted to see you and worship together with you. Please let me join you." Then Idris said, "You will not be able to keep up with me. I eat little, drink little, sleep little, and perform regular worship all day. You will not be able to endure this." Azrael replied, "Allah gives me strength. Inshallah, I will manage." So Idris accepted him, and they started their journey together. For 1 whole day they walked, making dhikr, worshipping, giving thanks and fasting. In the evening, as they continued their journey, they saw a shepherd on the road. Azrael said to Idris, "O Prophet of Allah, we're traveling, but we don't know where we'll spend the night. Maybe we won't find any food since there's a shepherd here. Let's get some milk wherever we sleep tonight. We can break our fast with it." But Azrael said this to test Idris, because as an angel he didn't need food or drink. When Idris heard this, he became upset and said, "Don't ever say something like that again. Is responsible for our sustenance wherever we are. He sends our provision there. How could not know where we will rest?" Azrael said, "Astaghfirullah." Then they continued their journey. At night, they stopped to rest. Idris was very hungry. They made dua and sent them a meal from the heaven. Then Idris said, "Come join me and eat." Then Azrael said, "I swear by the one who made you a prophet, I don't feel any desire to eat." Idris replied, "I am a human. I have to eat a little." So he began eating, but he started to become suspicious of the man with him earlier. He had asked for milk because of hunger, but now he refused to eat after eating. They both began to pray. They continued praying without stopping until the end of the night. Idris became tired and sleepy. Then he looked at the man beside him. He had no signs of tiredness, no sleepiness, no hunger. Idris still didn't know he was Azrael and was surprised. But for Azrael, this worship was easy, because in the heavens, there are angels who started praying before the world was even created, and they still haven't moved from their standing position. Idris looked at him in amazement and said, "I thought no one on earth could worship stronger than me, but clearly you are stronger. I was never told. Someone like you exists." He felt humbled by his own worship. The next day came. They continued walking. Near the end of the day, they saw a grapevine. Azrael said, "O Prophet of Allah, we don't know where we'll stay tonight. Maybe we should take a few bunches of grapes in case we don't find food later." Idrisa became upset and said, "Didn't I already tell you guarantees our provision? Wherever we are sends our risk there." Azrael replied again, "Astaghfirullah," and they continued without taking any grapes. Night came and they sat to rest again. They made dua and once again sent down a table of food for them. Idris started eating and turned to the man beside him. "Come join me and eat." Azrael said again, "O Prophet of Allah, I don't feel like eating at all." Idris became even more suspicious, he thought to himself. So he didn't want those grapes for himself after all. After eating, they prayed again and continued praying without a break until the end of the night. Once more, Idris had become tired, and he looked at the man beside him, still no signs of hunger or sleep. Then Idris asked him, "For the sake of the one who holds my soul in his hand, tell me the truth. You're not a human, are you? The angel of death?" Azrael replied, "Maybe not. I am not from the children of Adam," and asked, "Then who are you?" Azrael said, "I am the angel of death." When Idris heard this, he was shocked. "Did you come to take my soul? Is it my time to die?" Azrael replied, "If I had received a command to do that, I would obey it, but I didn't. I came only because I love you. For the sake of Allah, I asked his permission and came just to be your companion." Idris said, "For nearly 3 days and 3 nights. We've been walking and worshipping together. You never left my side in all this time. Hasn't even one creature died?" Azrael replied, "O Prophet of Allah, by the one who gave you prophethood, of course many have died. Since the moment you first saw me, I've been with you. But whenever I am ordered to take someone's soul, no matter where they are in the universe, I go and take it." Idris was amazed and asked, "How do you do that? How is it possible?" Azrael answered, "The entire world is in front of me, just like a table in front of a person, just like a person reaches out to take food. I reach out and take a soul." The trick of Idris to Azrael. Idris said, "There is something I've always wished for. Can you let me taste death?" Azrael asked, "Why would you want to feel the pain of death?" Idris, who held a very high level of worship, replied, "If I feel the pain of death, even once, I will never sleep again. After I return to life, I will worship Allah without stopping." Azrael said, "Let me ask my Lord when gave permission." Azrael suddenly made Idris taste death, and then, with the permission of Allah, he brought him back to life. When Idris opened his eyes again, Azrael asked him, "How was the pain of death?" Idrisa said, "It's nothing like what I've read. It was terrifying and painful in some narrations." Idris said, "It felt like the skin of a sheep being torn off while still alive. That's how painful death is." Then Idris said, "O angel of death, I have another request. Can you do it for me?" Azrael replied, "Tell me." Idris said, "Please show me hell." Azrael replied, "All right, I'll ask my Lord, but why do you want to see hell?" Idris said, "If I see hell with my own eyes, my worship will increase even more." Allah. Azrael gave permission. Azrael took Idris to hell. When they reached its gates, the angels guarding hell asked, "Who are you?" Azrael said, "I am Azrael." The angel started trembling and asked, "Why have you come with the fear of death?" Azrael said, "Sent us. We came with Prophet Idris. Please open the gate just a little." The guardian angels opened the gate of hell, only as wide as a needle's eye. At that moment Idris heard terrifying sounds, felt intense heat, and the screams and fire made him collapse and faint. When he woke up, he said, "This was much more terrifying than anything I have ever read or known." Then Idris said again, "O angel of death, I have one more request. Can you do it?" Azrael replied, "Go ahead." Idris had said this time, "Please show me paradise." Azrael said, "Let me ask my Lord for permission." Gave permission. Again, Azrael said, "A prophet of good news. You are one of the people of paradise. You are from the best group. The prophets, very soon you will enter paradise anyway. So why now?" Idris said, "This is my request. I want to see paradise. If I see it, my desire and longing for it will grow even more, and I will worship even better." Since gave permission, Azrael brought him to the gates of paradise. There they greeted the angel in charge of paradise, Ridwan, and the other angels guarding the doors. The angels asked, "Who are you, Azrael?" Replied, "I am the angel of death." The angels began to tremble in fear and said, "Have you received an order concerning us?" Azrael replied, "No, I have not. This is Prophet Idris. He only wants to see paradise. We receive permission from Allah. Please open the gate." The angels opened the gate, and Idris looked inside. He felt the cool breeze, smelled the beautiful scents, and saw the rivers flowing. Then he said, "Let's go inside and taste a fruit, drink some water. This will make my desire for paradise even stronger, and it will make me worship more." So he entered, he tasted the fruits and drank the water of paradise. Azrael then said, "All right, it's time to leave. Let's go back. Now on the day of judgment, Allah will bring you into paradise with the other prophets. This much is enough for now." But Idris held onto the branch of a tree and said, "I'm not leaving. Even if you try, I will fight you." Azrael was surprised and said, "To my Lord, I don't have the authority for this. He wants to resist me. What should I do then?" Allah said, "Choose a judge among you and have a trial. Both of you should bring your proofs." Azrael asked Idris, "What proof will you give me?" Idris said, "I will bring proof from the verses of Qur'an." He continued, "The rule of Allah is every soul shall taste death. I already tasted death, and the people of paradise will say, we will never die again in this world. There is only one death I already had. That is there any verse that says will make a person die twice?" Azrael answered, "No, there is not." Then Idris said, "And your Lord says, there is not one of you who will not pass by hell. I have passed by it too, and also said, they will never be taken out from paradise. I have entered paradise now. Once someone enters, they don't come out again. That's the rule of Allah. So based on these proofs, I am not leaving." Azrael said, "O my Lord, what can I say now?" Allah replied, "My servant Idris has defeated you by my glory and majesty. I knew about his death in my eternal knowledge. I made his death happen through the event with you, and I wrote in my destiny that he would enter paradise with you now. It is also written that he will never leave it. O angel of death, leave him there. My servant Idris entered paradise by my command and by my command. He will never leave." So Idris stayed in paradise. When the angels saw this, some of them asked, "O our Lord, we were created thousands of years before Prophet Idris. We never disobeyed you, not even for a blink of an eye, yet you allowed him to enter paradise before. What is the wisdom behind this?" Allah replied, "I created you for my worship to praise, and remember me. I placed your joy in dhikr and made you strong in worship. I didn't give you desires like food, drink, or lust. But Idris is human. I placed in the world desires, beauty, sins, and temptations. I gave him a soul and allowed Satan to tempt him, but he defeated both his soul and Satan. He left all worldly pleasures for my sake. He put my love and my pleasure above everything. So if anyone among you wants to enter paradise early, like Idris, let him go down to the world, face the tests of Satan and the soul. If he can worship me as much as Idris did and succeed in the test, I will also let him enter paradise early. But if he follows his soul and Satan, instead I will send him to hell, the angels. Then say to our Lord, we don't want reward or punishment. We are happy, just as we are pleasing you, our Lord." In the Quran, Prophet Idris is mentioned. Directly only in 2 verses. One of them says, "And mention in the book, Idris, surely he was very truthful and a prophet. We raised him to a high station." The other verse says, "And mention Ishmael, Idris, and Du al-Kifal, all were among the patient we admitted them into our mercy indeed. They were of the righteous." Al-Anbiya 85-86. In the Quran, several qualities are given. To Idris was one who prostrated in tears, was guided to the truth, chosen, his status was high and honored. He was patient, truthful. Siddiq and a prophet in Hadith Idris is only mentioned during the Miraj ascension of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to some narrations, the Prophet met Idris in the 2nd heaven, but according to most narrations, the meeting happened in the 4th heaven. The verse in the Quran that says we raised him to a high place has been explained in different ways by scholars. Some say this means Idris was taken to the 4th or 6th heaven when his soul was captured. Others say the verse refers to paradise. Some scholars say it means that he was given prophethood. Prophet Idris also carried with him the scrolls that were revealed to Adaman Shith. He is known to have invented or advanced many sciences and skills, the knowledge of symbols, ilm al-ramal astronomy calculations, medicine plant secrets, unusual crafts, writing, sewing, and using a balance scale. His scriptures included knowledge about spiritual secrets, how to command over spiritual beings, ruhanat, and the properties of different creatures. He had many students, improved farming, and began making clothes from leather and fabric. It is narrated from Ibn Abbas that Prophet Idris was a tailor. Every time he moved his needle, he would say Subhanallah, and by the end of the day, there was no one on earth with deeds better than his. Because of his knowledge of the stars and calculations, the Greek philosophers called him Hermes the Wise, the spiritual rank of Prophet Idris. Some scholars say that Prophet Idris is still alive, and in the heavens, his truthfulness and nearness to Allah are described in Surah Maryam verse 56. The word salihun, righteous ones, used in these verses about prophecies, meant to show their high status and excellence. According to Rome, both Idris and Isa alayhumus salam were lifted into the heavens because of their intense devotion and spiritual struggle. They almost stopped eating and drinking. They became so pure like the angels that they were taken up to the skies. Their great patience, gratitude, and discipline purified their souls and made them gentle and light, just like the angels. This teaches us that even ordinary people can reach high spiritual levels through purifying their hearts and fighting their ego. The prophets who reached the top in spiritual growth were also examples. In practical life, just like Adam taught farming, Idris taught tailoring. He also improved writing during his time, and it became more advanced. The wise advice of Prophet Idris, he would often advise his people with wise and beautiful words. Some of his advice includes: the wiser a person becomes, the more humble he should be. A smart person does not look at others' faults or shame them. If someone becomes wealthy, they should not become arrogant or lose their good character. A person who does not purify their soul has no real wisdom. Love for this world and love for the next life cannot be in the heart at the same time. When you make dua, your intention should be sincere. No one's thanks can ever fully match the blessings Allah gives. Pray and fast with a sincere heart. Never be jealous of others for what they have. These blessings are only temporary. Whoever is not happy with what Allah gave them will never feel. Rich Prophet Idris was a noble messenger who became a guide in every era. Through his wise words, knowledge, and good character, he showed us that working hard in this life and being righteous for the next life are both ways to earn the pleasure of Allah. His life, full of knowledge, worship, and wisdom, continues to remind humanity of the power of truth, faith, and determination. The legacy of Idris is not just for the past, it is a shining light for today and for the future. We have reached the end of our video. Please support us by liking the video, writing your thoughts in the comments and subscribing to the channel. This helps our work appear more in YouTube and gives us motivation to keep going. Let us end with the Hadith. Whoever helps someone do good, it is as if they have done it themselves. May be pleased with all of you.